Have you read a story in the Draoithe Saga and come away with a classic case of immersion after effect? Let me guess, there are questions which remain unanswered even as the magic expanded, adding another layer to the dream. The grand desire to turn the page to discover what happened next ended with the last leaf turned. If you're asking where the remedy for the book Hangover is, you know the answer: read another story. But you aren't ready for the next tale, not yet. The dust needs to settle before you pick up the next volume. So you have found your way here. You aren't alone. Even the author can't get enough. As you hear this, Ophelia Kee writes on. But allow me to offer you a possibility, a reflection on the tale you recently finished, and a way to revisit the story to ease the story blues. Welcome to the Draoithe Saga Afterparty. Warning, spoiler alerts ahead. Turn back now if you wish to read the story blind.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're inviting you to step into a world where love can be, well, as sharp as a vampiric fang and a broken heart. It can lead to a literal, actual, soulless existence.
It's quite a premise.
Yeah. So, our mission for this deep dive is to unpack some fascinating excerpts from Heartless by Ophelia Kee. It's part of her bigger Draoithe saga.
Right.
We're going to try and pull out the most intriguing bits, the surprising insights from this unique urban fantasy, paranormal romance blend, give you a real shortcut to understanding this imaginative universe.
Absolutely. And we've got quite a bit to draw from: the story description, character details, a look at the author's whole literary world.
Oh, cool.
And even a sneak peek into another related story. So hopefully you'll leave feeling pretty well informed, maybe a little taken aback by some of it.
Sounds good. So to really get the stakes here, we need to understand the bigger picture, right? This Draoithe saga you mentioned. What exactly is that? What kind of world are we actually stepping into?
Okay, so the Draoithe Saga, it sets up this world that exists entirely within a dream.
A dream, like literally.
Literally. It's a place where myths, legends, fairy tales that aren't just stories. They're real beings walking around in this strange and wonderful landscape.
Wow.
And the genre itself is described very explicitly as steamy, hot, wickedly delicious paranormal romance, magical realism, and urban fantasy stories.
So a bit of everything.
Pretty much, yeah. All happening inside this vivid, living dreamscape.
A living dream. That's a really unique concept for a fantasy world. So what's the point of the dream then? How does the saga work within it?
Well, it's not just scenery. People who come to Draoithe, they actually had a role to play. They help fight to restore the magical balance of the dream.
Okay.
Often it happens like one couple at a time. The whole saga is framed as this long story of heroic achievement, basically, a dramatic history. But it's cleverly broken down into several miniseries, makes it easier to read. And it tells the story of how this immortal kingdom gets founded in a place called Lingdeal, specifically to fight the forces that are unbalancing the magic.
An immortal kingdom fighting to balance magic. That definitely sounds epic. Where does all this actually take place? Geographically, I mean? Is it some mystical realm?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But the central place is surprisingly familiar, though, with that magical realism twist. It's Tyler, Texas.
Texas, really?
Yep, Tyler, Texas. The main time frame is given as the year 01 Scene X, though bits of the past get revealed as characters learn about them. And as the story goes on, you see other kingdoms, other characters interacting with its main magical community, the Druid Pack. They're all working, ultimately, to stop this big bad force, Eater Elliot, who's messing with the dream's balance.
Right, restore equilibrium.
Exactly. And you get these cool cameos and overlapping scenes across the series, so you might see the same event from different points of view. It weaves together nicely.
That's a smart way to build the world.
Yeah.
Mixing the epic and the, Texan. Before we get into Heartless itself, the source material had some pretty specific warnings, didn't it? What should listeners know?
Yeah, that's important context. It's clearly marked. Warning, adult themes, fantasy violence, and/or explicit sexual situations intended for a mature audience.
Okay, good to know.
And it also has this 18 plus HEA and C label. That means happy ever after, no cliffhanger for each story. So readers know they'll get a satisfying ending, which is nice.
Definitely.
And specifically for Heartless, it's described as a flash fiction tale set in the dream. So it's short, punchy, within that larger saga structure.
Yeah, right, flash fiction. So it must pack a lot into a small space. What's the basic story of Chris and Daniela and Heartless? What makes it so, impactful.
Okay, so at its heart, Heartless is about this guy, Chris. He genuinely thought his relationship with Daniela was, forever. He adored her fiery spirit, which, interestingly, the text says was so strong that her claws often betrayed her emotions. So you get this sense of a deep, maybe kind of volatile connection.
Fiery spirit and actual claws.
Yeah.
Got it. And then comes the turning point you mentioned. The breakup sounds brutal.
Oh, it's way more than just a breakup. The text says, on a frosty autumn night, the woman he cherished delivered a blow more devastating than any supernatural attack.
Wow.
Daniela, apparently with a chilling smile and the barest hint of her fangs, calls him hard-hearted and just walks away.
Just leaves him.
Yep. Shatters his whole world right there.
Yeah, brutal is the word, especially with the fangs. But she must have had reasons, right? The text gives her side too.
It does, yeah. From Daniela's perspective, Chris was emotionally distant, callous, and hard-hearted. She was looking for something deeper, more passionate.
Okay.
And she apparently found it with a beautiful man who was far less callous. So her choice, while devastating for Chris, is framed as her choosing, personal fulfillment over a relationship that felt comfortable, but ultimately unfulfilling to her.
So less villain, more self-preservation maybe, choosing herself. Still rough on Chris though. And this is where his story takes that really dark, unexpected turn. His reaction sounds transformative.
Oh, absolutely transformative. The description is intense. His chest seized up, his heart felt like it fell to his feet, and there was this sound as if pottery had cracked, echoed in the evening air. He tries desperately to put the shards of his broken heart back together, but just gets cut by them.
Jeez.
His love, the story says, just bled out and died on the empty sidewalk. And this loss, this pain, leads him to make this really drastic choice to embrace the void, to become the very thing she accused him of being, Heartless.
That's taking heartbreak literally, and this connects to becoming soulless. How does that logic work for him? What's the thinking there?
Well, he sort of rationalizes it. He thinks perhaps it was better to have no heart than to have a hard one.
Okay, I can kind of see the twisted logic.
Right. And he even makes this leap, connecting it to Hollywood movies where vampires didn't have hearts. So he concludes, if a man was soulless, he must, by definition, also be heartless.
Wow.
So for Chris, it becomes this journey of just profound loss, this agonizing transformation, and him desperately searching for a new way to just endure. The really surprising thing here is how heartbreak isn't just emotional pain. It triggers this literal, almost self-inflicted shedding of his humanity.
Turning into what he thinks is tougher, more resilient, even if it's monstrous. That is a dark twist on coping.
Definitely chilling.
Okay, so that's Heartless. But this whole dream concept, it clearly goes beyond just this one story. The source gave us that sneak peek too, right? Enamarada Succubus. How does that show the bigger picture?
Yeah, that sneak peek definitely broadens the scope. It introduces a new character, a female protagonist who's described as a living lure.
A living lure.
Her magic is specifically trained to trap this one, single destructive force. The scene shows her robe falling away as she approaches this gorgeous male specimen.
Okay.
Who isn't human. He has slightly pointed ears and fangs. But even though there's obvious danger, the text makes a point of saying her desire outweighed all fear.
So it's not just random, there's a purpose behind it, and her motives seem complicated, like she's been prepped for this.
Exactly. It says she went through years of rigorous practice sessions in Asmodeus' harem.
Wow, okay.
Which turned her initial resistance into accepting this as a fated meeting. She's apparently endured delicious pain, edged with pleasure, all building up to this really dangerous but destined encounter. It's a very different kind of entanglement.
Definitely not your typical romance setup. And the goal. What's the shocking purpose behind this connection?
Well, the reveal is that this whole intense fated meeting is set up because a deranged serial killer must cease his vile activities.
Whoa, so her encounter is meant to stop a serial killer.
Seems so. It really raises questions about the means justifying the ends in this universe. Where even a succubus's intimate, powerful connection serves this larger, often pretty dark purpose, maintaining balance or fighting evil.
That definitely adds layers to the world building, shows the high stakes and maybe morally gray areas within the dream. Okay, let's shift to the person creating this dream, Ophelia Kee. What does the text tell us about her relationship with her readers?
Well, she comes across as quite humble, actually, expresses appreciation for readers, asks for honest reviews to help her out as a, quote, self-publishing tiger.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah. She encourages people to join her Magic Scroll newsletter for updates, offers, sneak peeks, free stories, that kind of thing. And there's this really unique offer to read the Draoithe Saga before it's officially published.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it comes with extras like AI audio versions, character art, lexicons, videos. She's really building a whole community around the work.
That's quite a lot of engagement. But her About the Author section, that's where things get really weird, right? It's written in this incredibly cryptic way. What does it actually say?
It's truly unlike any author bio I've ever encountered. Verbatim it goes. Not who everyone thinks she is, the product of someone's imagination, the end result of a lifetime wishing to get out. Do not buy the lie. If you live in fear, you give up freedom. Taking the risk and making the leap. Too much of anything is a bad thing. Innuendo floating on mist rising above water. Walk away and leave it all behind. Telling the story that haunts a fantasy. Catching a dream. She does not exist. Ophelia Kee.
She does not exist. Wow, that's not just a bio, that feels like another piece of the fiction itself, doesn't it?
It really does. Blurs the line completely.
Okay, so we've really covered a lot today. We went from Chris's shattering heartbreak and his choice to become heartless, all the way to this intricate, dark, magical dreamscape Ophelia Kee has built. Hopefully you feel like you got a real shortcut now to understanding this imaginative world.
Yeah, full of surprising twists and these deep emotional arcs.
Exactly. All designed to leave you well-informed.
And maybe thinking a little bit too.
Right. Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. If a dream world can feel this real, if characters can choose to literally shed their humanity just to survive, what does it actually mean when the author herself ends her bio with, "She does not exist"?
How does that challenge how we think about the stories we read, the fantasies we dive into, and maybe even the reality we, live in?
Something to mull over.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. For more, visit opheliakee.com. Welcome to the dream. Sincerely. Okay.